Good afternoon, everybody. Pigskin Pete here. Happy Friday to everybody. Man, I missed you guys. It feels like it's been a week since I've been on here. Probably because it has been a week since I've been on here. Been a crazy week in the Pigskin Pete household. Haven't had a whole lot of time to do videos. And so when I finally have time to hook up with you guys, I miss it. So much to talk about. Now, there's not a whole lot of college football news coming out. I mean, we got a lot of spring practices going on all across the country, no matter which team you're a fan of. Lots of trades happening in the NFL. I've introduced myself in a very, very rude way, which I thought I was doing it in a very nice way, to the New York Giant football fans. So I made a video yesterday about what the Giants need to do, because Dave Gettleman, the general manager for them, used to be the general manager for the Carolina Panthers. So I have a little bit of knowledge and experience about how much of a hack that he is. And so just like I did when I made a video about Georgia Tech and Paul Johnson, and I made a video about Missouri and Kelly Bryant, I made a video about Dave Gettleman and the Giants, and I thought I was being really nice. I mean, being really nice for what Pigskin Pete is. And just like I thought, and it wasn't just on YouTube. Actually, my YouTube reaction from the Giants fans wasn't bad at all, because hardly anybody watched the video anyway. But on Twitter, listen, I don't know if these people think that they're dealing with a rational, insane human being, but you're not. And that was me being nice, people. So if you really want to unleash the wrath of Pigskin Pete, then you've come to the right place. Anyway, lots I want to talk about. If anybody who wants to call in, by the way, Dilly. Let's open the first beer. Dilly to everybody. Happy Friday. Happy Beer Friday. The number is 855-902-9368. If you want to call in, you want to talk about Odell Beckham Jr., you want to talk about your favorite college team's spring practice, you want to talk about Kyler Murray's pro day, whatever it is you want to talk about, Le'Veon Bell to the Jets, Tom Brady getting his first gray hair, whatever it is, I'm all ears. But before we do any of that, let's get into the chat here. We got Nathaniel Legendary fan. Good afternoon to you, sir. Bobby Durkins Jr. says, is there an age limit for calling? No. Oh, my God. One sip of beer and I'm already burping. No, Bobby Durkins Jr., there's no age limit for calling. As long as you keep it clean, sir, it's all good. College football maniac, get her done. Prince 6'1", my man. And listen, that reminds me, before I go any further, April the 6th, which is 3 Saturdays from tomorrow, I will be in Clemson, South Carolina, with my man Prince 6'1", Bobby Durkins. Bobby Durkins here, the legendary Clemson YouTuber, and my man. Tiger Nation, I know will be there. I've got a message from a few other people that said they're going to be there. And anybody who's going to be in the Clemson, South Carolina vicinity that weekend, hit me up on Twitter or whatever. Come meet up with us. We'll be hanging out, having a great time, and I'm really looking forward to that. I can't tell you how much I'm looking forward to that. Hound Dog is in the house. What's up, Pete? Melissa Stallings in the house. Says, screw the G-men. Yes, well, I'll get into that in a minute. Jameel Stevens, sup, Pigskin Pete. You and Roadshow and Uncle Lou are my favorite YouTubers. Well, thank you. You might be the first person, well, maybe the second. Maybe the second. Maybe the second person that's ever told me that that I'm one of your favorite YouTubers. So you're automatically one of my favorites. Thank you. George is in the house. Just stop by to say, check out the show. Can't stay right now. All right, well, sir, you're going to miss an amazing and fantastic show. You already know that. Anyway, so before I get started, and hold on, I'm going to check the. I'm going to check and see if anybody is on the line. Bobby Durkins, you're one of my favorite YouTubers too, sir. I don't know what's going on, but am I live right now? It's saying that I'm not online. I swear. You can't buy good service around here. I don't know what the hell's going on. Maybe my burp knocked it off track. What's up, Irish Panther? 81 Clemson Tiger 16. All right. So I'm good. Okay. It's probably just a glitch on my end. YouTube loves to mess with me. And don't even get me started on YouTube. I was going to do a whole rant on YouTube. Not YouTube as far as what I'm doing right now, but as far as YouTube, the actual company. But I'm not going to do it because that'll take up the whole show. So I'm not going to do it right now. Anyway, I'm going to check and see if anybody's on the line real quick. And then if not, I'm going to get into something else. All right, so anybody wants to call in 855-902-9368. Don't be shy. I won't bite unless you really want me to. But so I just got off the phone a few minutes ago, and I got really pumped up talking to my man Bobby C, Catfish from the Volunteer Roadshow, my main man on YouTube, and I got a lot of main men. Bobby Durkins. Listen, I could go down the list of all the different YouTubers that I'm in contact with, but Bobby is probably the guy I talk to the most. Him and Bobby Durkins, the two Bobbies. And for anybody who doesn't know, Catfish has linked up with the legendary Tennessee football player Billy Ratliff, the defensive tackle from the national championship team, and I believe it's 1998. And I could not be happier for a greater guy to hook up with somebody than Bobby is to hook up with Billy Ratliff. And so I look forward to working with those two. And actually, I've got a lot of questions for Bobby Ratliff. Or, sorry, not Bobby Ratliff. Billy Ratliff from the legendary championship team with the Volunteers. But Bobby C, Catfish, he's got so much in the works for his YouTube channel. He's inspirational. And with all the stuff that's going on with his personal life, with his son having leukemia, everybody put their prayers up for my man Sam, who's fighting leukemia right now. But Bobby, he's always one whenever stuff's not going right in my personal life or on YouTube. He's always the one that gets me in the right mood and gives me inspiration to do stuff on YouTube. So I can't thank him enough. And the same thing goes for my man Bobby Durkins on YouTube. I mean, these guys are amazing and fantastic. And so, a lot of these other guys are too, but those are the two guys that I speak with on a personal level the most. And so everybody should be happy for my man Bobby for getting Billy on there. Jamil Stevens asks, are you friends with Lou and Catfish? I mean, define friends. I'm friendly with Uncle Lou. Yes, I've spoke with him before several times. Lou's a very personal guy, though. Catfish is very outgoing, so I speak with him on a regular basis. I don't speak with Lou on a regular basis. But that's no shot at Lou. I mean, Lou's got his own thing going on. Melissa says, I love the disclaimer. That's definitely there for a reason. Yeah. Catfish is the only Vol fan I like. I actually have quite a few. I actually have more or just as many Vol fans that I'm friends with on YouTube than I do Clemson fans. And that's saying a lot. What I've noticed is, like, when I first came on YouTube, half of the videos I made or more were bashing SEC teams. And after a year and a half of being on YouTube, come to find out, probably the majority of my subscribers and the majority of the other video makers that I'm friendly with are SEC fans. So, the irony in that is thick, but it is what it is. Listen, the SEC has probably the strongest of all fan bases in football and college football, and since that's what I'm about, then it only makes sense. Somebody's indicating that they're calling. Melissa is. So we'll see if she is. See if she's just blowing smoke up my ass. I don't see you on the phone. So I'm still awaiting a call. In the meantime, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go on a rant. I'm going to go on a rant about the New York Giants. I'm going to go on a rant about Dave Gettleman and Giants fans. And you know what? I'm not just going to make it about Giants fans. That's too easy. Giants fans are low-hanging fruit right now, and that's just almost too easy to do. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and just encompass the entire state of New York. Because if you really want to look at it, if you really want to be serious about what's going on in the NFL right now, let's include the entire New York area, because there's three professional teams in New York. You've got the Buffalo Bills, the New York Jets, and the New York Giants. And those are three of the worst teams in NFL right now. And the New York fans are all very proud. In particular, the Giants fans, because they've actually been relevant in the past 20 years compared to the Bills and the Jets. And so I went on the on YouTube yesterday and made a video about Dave Gettleman and the Giants and how I thought they were tanking, or maybe not tanking, but rebuilding for the future. So Dave Gettleman was the Carolina Panthers general manager for, I want to say, 4 or 5 years. Maybe it was 5 years. I don't know exactly. So Marty Herney was the general manager. Then he was fired. Dave Gettleman took over. After about 2 seasons, in 2015, they went to the Super Bowl and got their butts handed to them by the Denver Broncos. And then the couple of seasons after that were a complete disaster. Dave Gettleman goes to the Giants. And so ever since Dave Gettleman went to the Giants, and they rehired Marty Herney, by the way, in Carolina since then. And we've had a change of ownership and whatever else. But since then, I've been telling because I've become friends with several Giants YouTubers, Spencer from Rover Sports, and most recently Bad Dog 7676 and the Entertainer Talking Sports. I know there's other Giants YouTubers, but those are the guys that I know that I communicate with on a regular basis. And I've been telling them, especially Spencer from Rover Sports, because I've known him the longest. I've been telling them I'm not a believer in Dave Gettleman, and I think that they look at me and they think, oh, he's just got some sort of hard on. He's got sour grapes with Dave Gettleman because of the way that all ended and everything. And that's not it. It's not it. Listen, Dave Gettleman is doing the exact same thing in New York right now that he did with the Carolina Panthers. And what does he do? He cuts all of your best players and then signs older veteran players who nobody else wants, right? So listen, if you go back and you look at the former Panthers players that hate Dave Gettleman, first of all, he's the one that got rid of Julius Peppers when he originally left and went to, I think he went to the Bears first, then he went to the Packers, then he came back to Carolina. He got rid of Steve Smith. He got rid of Josh Norman when Josh Norman was in the prime of his career. And his whole philosophy behind getting rid of these players is, oh, they've got too big of a contract. We need to, make cap space and build through the draft. Well, he cuts all these elite players, and all he does is draft bad players. This is what Dave Gettleman does. And that's exactly what he's doing right now. He gets rid of, 3 of their best players on their team. And then he goes out and gets rid of Odell Beckham, which I don't completely disagree with, because Odell Beckham Jr. and the Giants, I think they were past the point of no return. And I was like, okay, so they're going to get a great receiver in the draft and maybe go after a quarterback. Maybe. What do? Golden Tate. Go out and sign Golden Tate. Listen, I've seen this story before. And Giants fans, if you're watching, it doesn't end well. It doesn't end well. I promise. 2 years from now, you're going to be calling me on my YouTube channel and saying, "You were right, Pete. This guy's a joke. Dave Gettleman is not the answer, sir." It looks like I got a caller on the line. Let me see who this is. Looks like it's Catfish and Volunteer Roadshow. Good afternoon. You're on with Pete.
What's going on, Pigskin Pete?
I'm living the dream, buddy. How you doing?
You got to live the dream. So what do you think about this trade to Browns? The Browns, I tell you what now, they're slowly making some moves. The old Jim Haslam, UT grad, putting a team together. Now, I don't know, what kind of a locker room presence Odell's going to make, but they've got a heck of a quarterback, and I think I seen somewhere in Vegas they're like 5th or 6th in the odds of making it to the Super Bowl.
And they should be. And this is the thing that it blows my mind. Whether it's watching the mainstream media, whether it's ESPN or Fox Sports, or just watching stuff on YouTube, everyone, they're making all these great moves, and they probably, what I would consider the Browns right now to have the most talented roster, top to bottom, in all the NFL. Now, you may say, well, having the most talent doesn't always equal Super Bowls, and I agree with that. But name one single team out there that says, oh, we don't want all that talent. Having all that talent doesn't necessarily equal wins. Listen, I'm a Carolina Panthers fan. Give me the Browns roster tomorrow, and I'll be throwing a party at my house. Like, it all starts with players having the most talent. And the number one thing I see people saying is, oh, they got too many big personalities in there. You got Odell Beckham Jr. and Baker Mayfield and Jarvis Landry, all these big personalities. But who cares, man? It's professional sports. This isn't high school football. This isn't college football. Big-time players make big-time plays, right? And Odell Beckham Jr. might have been a pain in the ass when he was in New York. He might have been, throwing tantrums on the sideline. He might have proposed to a kicking net when they were losing a game one time. But Odell Beckham Jr. has been on a team that's terrible for the past 5 years. He has been the best player on that team. And yeah, if you're Odell Beckham Jr. and you're the best player on the team and you want to win and you can't get a quarterback that can get you the football on a regular basis, then you might be a little bit upset too. You know what I'm saying?
Well, that's the key. I'm wanting to see how his sophomore season, so to speak, is going to be at quarterback. He had a great rookie season, and I think the personalities, a lot of people say they're going to be sucking all the oxygen out of the room. That just might work between the two of them. They might be one of the great duos of all time. They're still kind of early in the career. Of course, Odell's a little further along in his career, but I think I say watch out for the Browns, but a lot of it's going to determine about their defense, how they're going to be able to play. But they showed some flashes of brilliance last year, and they made some great improvements. But how about them Clemson Tigers? When did you say that spring game was? I might just bring my old Kenworth W900 to Clemson then. When's this going to be?
Spring game is April the 6th. It's 3 weeks from tomorrow.
Yeah, I need to scout out the team my boys are going to be playing in the national championship. Give my notes to Billy Ratliff and say, can you slide these to Coach Fulmer? And maybe do a little videotaping, call it Spygate. I don't know. Hey, I'm excited about the season. It's still 4 or 5 months away, but I'm ready for it now.
Yeah, man, you need to come on and come up there. I'm sure we can find a place to park that truck. And it's going to be a cast of characters up there, man. And we're going to have a great time. I'm already starting to save. I've actually been saving bail money for the past 2 weeks now. So I might not even pay my phone bill.
We can have those the redneck couple of beers, but I've got to have a lot of time between bottle and throttle in this truck. So it's not like driving a car. So I'll need a designated driver to come pick me up. I may need to crash somewhere for the night if we have too much fun.
Yeah, that's all right, man. You sleep anywhere. But you'll fit right in there, man. You got the country accent.
Oh yeah, I love Clemson fans.
And you've got
I love the Clemson fans.
You've got the right color on, so it might be the wrong color orange, but it's still orange, so you'll fit right in. I promise.
Now, if we can get Trevor Lawrence, Amari, and T to come back home and play, maybe that transfer portal work out for us, Vols. But, man, y'all got a trio right there that, man, how many more years does T and Amari have? What, 2? They're still going in their junior year, sophomore, junior year. What are they doing?
Yeah, so T and Amari will be juniors, so they'll probably be gone after this next year. But Justin Ross, of course, Trevor Lawrence, they'll still be they still got one more year after that. And then Lynn J. Dixon was a true freshman this year, so he'll most likely take over the number one running back spot after Etienne leaves after this next year. I mean, listen, I know I'm biased, and you can take what I say with a grain of salt as far as Clemson football is concerned. But when I look at the talent on this team and the youth on this team, I just don't see them going anywhere. Well, first of all, I don't see them going anywhere as long as Dabo's there, but I don't see them going anywhere as far as being in the national championship conversation just based on what they have right now for another 4 or 5 years. I mean, and listen, you know how much of an ACC homer I am, and I agree, yeah, they might have a easier path to the playoffs than everybody else, but listen, they could be in the AAF or the Pac-12 or the Big 12 or wherever else you could stick them. Doesn't make them any better, any less of a great team. And so there's nobody, I promise you, especially for the next 2 years, and that's as far ahead as I'm going to look, there's nobody in America, whether it's Tennessee, Alabama, Florida, Oklahoma, Ohio State, you just name them all down the list. There's nobody that's looking forward to lining up against Clemson in these next couple of years. I promise you that.
Well, I'm glad you just mentioned my Vols in that sentence. We're not back yet, but I saw that video by my boy Bobby Durkins. He gave his first reasons why Clemson was going to repeat, and his number one reason was Trevor Lawrence. I agree, man. If he can just duplicate what he did last year, man, there's no telling what y'all are going to be able to do. And I tuned in right as you're talking about all the SEC fans that come to your channel. I'm repping the SEC. We're passionate down here in the South, and Clemson, they're in the South, and y'all might be in the ACC, but y'all fit right in. Y'all showed that y'all fit in with the big boys in the SEC. I'd love to see Clemson make that switch to the SEC, maybe get you in West Virginia. I know a lot of my boys, raspy kid voice boys up there in West Virginia that I've talked to in private a little bit. They're screaming for the West Virginia to come to the SEC. I just make the conference better. Get some good football going.
Yeah, I hear that a lot that's the number one thing I've noticed from a lot of the SEC fans that come on my channel is they say, well, Clemson, we give them respect. They belong in the SEC. And listen, I understand that. I understand what their whole reasoning behind that is. But let's be real here. The conference alignment is all about politics and money. And so Clemson is one of the original ACC teams. They were, when the ACC was formulated, Clemson was one of the original ones, and a lot of teams have gone and come, and in that time period. And right now, as far as financially, it doesn't make sense for Clemson to leave. I mean, if you're winning national titles and you're on primetime games almost every single week, there's just no incentive for them to leave. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I don't see it happening. Yeah. I don't see it happening.
It's always a thought. Tennessee ran Georgia Tech out of the SEC years ago. Bobby Dodd, the great Bobby Dodd, Coach of the Year award. He played at Tennessee and had a great career at Georgia Tech. But we've seen him packing over there to the ACC. And what do you think about Georgia Tech? Now they don't have to play that triple three-card Monty offense anymore. They're going to have to line it up and play some real football for a change.
Well,
what do you think that's going to turn out for
First
them?
of all, I think they'll get better. But have you seen their coach? Now, I don't know if this guy is completely out of his mind and lost his marbles or if he's just got some moxie, man. It's one of the two. We'll find out here in the next 2 or 3 years. But this guy is running around talking about they own the state of Georgia. They own the city of Atlanta as far as recruiting. And teams like Clemson and Florida State and the top tier teams in the ACC historically better watch out. And I don't know if somebody spiked this guy's drink before the press conference or if this guy's just got a pair of cojones on him the size of Georgia. We're going to find out. But I do think it was a good hire. You know how I feel about Paul Johnson. Paul Johnson was a joke and an embarrassment to all of college football, including the ACC. Listen, I don't care. If this guy is even half as good as he pretends to be, it's still going to be another 3 or 4 years before they're relevant again.
Yeah, the only thing they own in the state of Georgia is the Engineers Association. They don't know nothing about football yet until they put it on the field. So, but you got to respect the moxie. Maybe he can back up his talk, but we'll see. But I'm getting my show ready to go live here in a little while. I thought I'd jump on here and give you a caller and
listen.
Thanks for the shout out.
Yeah, listen before
We're all got a lot of big plans to do on YouTube, and I look forward to it.
Yeah, hey, before you go ahead and plug your show and plug real quick what you got going on with Billy.
Well, I knocked on 1,000 doors. I just had big dreams and tried to put work behind it, and finally got somebody to open the door and let me in to talk to him. And Billy is a legend. I mean, when you talk 1998 national championship, the first thing out of any Tennessee fan's mouth is that Arkansas game, and Billy Ratliff, bull rushing, one of the great offensive left tackles back into the quarterback, caused Clint Sterner to fumble the ball, and Billy Ratliff recovered it too. It's known affectionately around Tennessee as the Sterner stumble, and Billy did it. And, that game was lost. There was a lot of ebbs and flows in that season. Started out of the gate, we had to squeak one out against Syracuse. We beat Florida for the first time in a few years in overtime on Florida's missed field goal. And it was just it was a team of destiny. And I know Clemson fans can relate to that. But that Arkansas game, everybody remembers that. We had it lost. We got the ball back with a couple minutes left. We moved the ball a little bit with T. Martin and went for it on fourth down about midfield and couldn't convert with about 2 minutes left or a little less. And the legend is, and it's been verified by multiple people, that Billy Ratliff told T. Martin when he's coming off the field, hey man, don't take your helmet off. We're getting you the ball back. Minute and a half left, 2nd and 12. All they needed was a first down, and they could run the clock out, and Billy did his deal. And I'm just super excited to have somebody of his caliber on the show. And, man, he's just excited. He calls me all the time with ideas about the show, and we're talking basketball tonight, and he loves basketball, and he's just got a lot of great war stories.
Yeah.
That he put some of them out there on our first show, and I just can't wait to. The callers are loving to talk to him, and it's just going to be a great deal. We've got a lot of plans, a lot of tailgating opportunities, appearances to come out and watch a game at a sponsor's place of business on a big screen under a tent with Billy and Catfish. We've got a lot of things we're going to do this year, and I'm excited about it. I'm excited with what you've got planned, and I just say, hey, dream big, but a dream don't mean nothing if you don't work it. And we've both been working it. We started within a week or so of each other, and we both are growing, and we're both going to continue to grow along with Bobby Durkins and all the guys. I'm just excited to see YouTube get back to where it was with college football YouTubers. And I'm hoping the 3 or 4 of us that are really doing it can get guys back into it.
Well, I agree with you, man, and I'm happy for you. And I'm really looking forward to speaking with Billy Ratliff as well. Even as a Clemson fan, and anytime I can get on the phone and chop it up with a national title college football former player, there's a lot of that, is exciting about that to me. So, congratulations, man. I'll be tuning in later.
A quick story about Billy. He made his first video for me yesterday, and man, he texted me, said, man, I've did it 50 times. I just can't do it. I'm just nervous. I'm nervous. I said, Billy freaking Ratliff nervous? Played in front of 100 and something thousand people, and you're nervous talking into the phone? But those of you that hadn't done it before, I can relate. It's a lot harder talking into a camera than people realize. And he threw me up a video, and you can just tell that he's got a passion for it. And I appreciate it. Look forward to working with you guys. I really do.
Awesome, man. And I can relate, getting on camera and talking live to the, even if it's not the masses, even if it's only 20 people, there's something about that for sure. So he'll get used to it though. He's if he can play in front of 100,000 like you said, he can get used to YouTube. But anyway.
Oh yeah.
All right, man.
All right, buddy. You have a good one.
All right, man. Have a good one.
All right, we'll see you. Bye.
All right, let me get in the chat here real quick. Holy Christ. Leon Hurricanes coming through with a $49.99 super chat. I'll spot you the penny, sir. Leon. That puts Leon right in the contest, which, by the way, gives me a chance to go ahead and let everybody know what's going on with the Super Chat contest for the month of March. So the month of March, we currently have Leon Hurricanes in the lead with a $50 Super Chat. He gets 50 entries. We also have Michael Sachs, Cole, the fan from Missouri, Catfish, and Tiger Nation are all in the running for the Super Chat contest for the month of March. Now, I just did send out a T-shirt to Smallville. I sent that out, what was it, Tuesday. So, Smallville, you should be getting your T-shirt for the Super Chat contest from last month, probably Monday or Tuesday of next week. I also sent out the $50 Visa gift card for the Patreon page. Anybody who wants to sign up for the Patreon page for the month of March, I'll be doing a drawing live April 1st or the first week of April. And the GOAT Watson won the $50 Visa gift card. I sent that out on Wednesday, so he should be getting that probably early next week as well. And Leon Hurricane says, "Sup family, go Canes." My man, you know what? Miami Hurricanes fans, Oklahoma Sooners fans, Georgia fans, and I would probably say Tennessee fans have been the biggest supporters of my YouTube channel over the past year and a half, bar none. And listen, there's a lot of other of you too. South Carolina fans even, which is surprising. So you guys are all amazing and fantastic. Melissa Stallings. Melissa. Coming through with the $50 Super Chat. Melissa. Now I'm going to have to actually buy her something. I know, for those of you who don't know, Melissa Stallings, first of all, we've known each other for over 20 years. And we went to high school together. And she's been a good friend of mine. And so, Melissa, Melissa, by the way, hold on. Melissa, I got something for you. I might send you this anyway, Melissa. Hold on. You're still in the drawing, Melissa, but I might send you this anyway. I've shown this on here before, but I think it's your size. It's a, let me see what size it says. It is a youth large, but I think it'll fit you. So I'll have to wash it though, because I did blow my nose into it a couple times. But whether or not you win, I'll give you this, because ain't nothing I'm gonna do with it. But thank you, Melissa. You're amazing and fantastic. Let me see what's going on in the chat here. So now that, for anybody who's a Gamecock fan, who's talking about schedule, the Gamecocks are the easiest team on Clemson's schedule. Come on now. You know this. How dare you bring that shirt to this live stream? What's up, Miranda Dansby? My favorite damsel in distress. How are you? Look at Pete with the Gamecock merchandise. No, so that was a gag gift. Believe me, I didn't buy that. Somebody who's a Gamecock fan brought that to my house and gave it to me and told me it was for one of my kids. And needless to say, that person is no longer a friend of mine. So that's how that works. But I'll spread the love. I'll give it to Melissa, since it's her size, I think. What's up, Mark Dudley? How you doing, sir? Welcome to the stream. I'm sure if you're here, you're amazing and fantastic. And to get back something that Melissa said, she said that Tom Brady is the GOAT. I would actually, as much as I hate to admit it, and she knows how I feel about Tom Brady, I would have to admit that he is the GOAT. Hold on, I just got some heartburn when I said that. Let me recover for a second. I'm starting to get dizzy. Tom Brady is the GOAT. Yeah. I'm just going to leave it at that. I'm not going to pontificate on that anymore because I'm starting to get dizzy. Let me check the phone lines here, see if anybody else is on the line. If anybody wants to call in, the number is 855-902-9360. 888-646-8868. Nobody on the line. It's disappointing. It's very disappointing. I know you people have something to talk about. Billy Dawson says he's been having trouble with the stream. Well, thank you for telling me that. That is disappointing to say the least. I don't know what the problem is. I apologize if anybody's having problems with the stream. I apologize. I don't know what the problem is. Story of my life, basically. Billy Dawson says I would love to call in, but I'm at work right now. That's all right, man. You know what I would love is for a Miami fan to call in. See, Leon Hurricanes is on here. And I've got some questions, man. I've got some questions about those Hurricanes. So I think it was yesterday, I was watching Alonzo 1219's channel, and he said that Tate Martell was denied the waiver to start at Miami next year. Now, I pretty much figured that was going to happen because he didn't really have a legitimate hardship reason why he left Ohio State to come to Miami. But on the other hand, I wasn't completely ruling it out because we've seen so many players in this past season just get granted hardship waivers for basically no reason, right? And so I was thinking, I don't know, I was thinking he actually might get one because of everything that happened with Urban Meyer and that whole thing. I was thinking they might grant him one, but apparently they haven't. And so I'm not surprised about it. But I do believe that may be a blessing in disguise for Miami. They've still got a competent and good quarterback, in my opinion, to lead them through this next year. And all that will do is let them give another year to a guy like Tate Martell to develop into that system. And come to 2020, he'll be ready to roll. How did Pro Day go at Clemson yesterday? I missed it. Well, I'll tell you how it went. It went so amazing that you're probably going to see Clemson have 3 players go in the first round and maybe 10 players overall. Compared to the Gamecocks, which may have maybe 1 player go in the first round, maybe, and maybe 5 players go overall. So basically, whatever they did in Pro Day at Clemson compared to South Carolina, they doubled it. That's what happened. Rick Williams, I know that guy. He says getting ready to drink beer and play cards. That sounds like a plan, sir. I hope you win a lot of money. How does Pete have Gamecock gear? I just told you. It was not by my own doing. It was a gag gift. Leon says, I'm glancing and listening, Pete. I'm in a loud UPS truck. That's all right, man. I was just messing with you. 81 Clemson Tiger 16. I would call in, but I'm headed to work. Let me check and see if somebody's on the line because I have a habit of not doing that. All right, I got somebody on the line here. Looks like from an 843 area code, which is my area code. Let's see who this is.
Brown.
Good afternoon. You're on with Pete.
Hey, it's
Hey.
Melissa.
Hey, what's up?
Hey.
All right, so are you just calling?
How's it
Are you just calling to tell me how great Tom Brady is?
No, I actually wanted your opinion on something, nothing to do with the Patriots.
All right, go ahead. I'm all ears.
Do you think with all of the free agent signings that the Cleveland Browns are now the AFC North favorites?
Absolutely. Yes, I do. Because look at the rest of the AFC North. I mean, Baltimore is a complete unknown, right? The Bengals are a dumpster fire, right? And
do you feel like the Ravens are? I think they made some pretty nice moves.
Well, I'm not sold on Lamar Jackson, number one. I do think the Ravens are going to have a solid defense because that's what they have year after year. I also do believe that the Mark Ingram, signing for Baltimore was huge. They really needed that, so that's good.
Yes.
But I'm not sold on Lamar Jackson. So that's my hang-up.
Yes, I can't wrap my mind around why we would also trade get rid of Joe Flacco.
Joe Flacco?
You feel like he was the problem in Baltimore?
Joe Flacco sucks giant Raven nuts. All right?
It wasn't that many years ago that he won a Super Bowl, right?
If you look at the statistics, Joe Flacco has statistically been like the 31st ranked quarterback over the past 5 years. He's terrible.
But who are they stuck with now? I just don't see that as a step up.
Well, they're stuck with Lamar Jackson, which I agree is maybe not much of a step up, but I think Lamar Jackson gives them a better chance to win than Joe Flacco did. But that's the reason I think that the Browns right now are better because, listen, Baker Mayfield is by far, in my opinion, and I know this might not be the opinion of most NFL fans out there, I think that Baker Mayfield is by far the best quarterback in that division, and I also think they have a much more talented roster than anybody in that division. The only real red flag or question mark is that Freddie Kitchens is a first-year head coach, and so we don't know how good he's going to be. But as far as the talent on the team, the Browns far and away have the best roster in that division.
Wow. Okay. I'm still go. I still think the Ravens will be the favorite, but that's interesting to hear that you think that the Browns will.
So,
how long will it be since they've won that division?
So
a long time.
What makes you? Why are you all of a sudden a Ravens fan?
I'm not a Ravens fan. The Patriots has just been pummeled by them so many times that I just have this this fear of them. Maybe.
Yeah. So
the defense is always there.
So let me ask you a question. I'm going to interview you now. Okay.
Okay.
All right. So at what point, because it's going to happen, it's just a matter of whether it's this year or next year or the year after that. At what point is Tom Brady going to, at what point is Brady going to hit a wall? It's going to happen soon.
I think that definitely he's not as good as he was in previous years, but I got to go with "In Bill We Trust" because while the power's not there in his arm anymore, I feel like we're also stepping it up in the run game to alleviate some pressure on Tom Brady, and it's working because he's just able to dink and dunk them down the field, but they still have to respect our run game at the same time. So.
Yeah, so let me ask you this question because I think that I actually believe, as much as I don't want to say it, I think that Brady's got another 2 years of solid play left in him, and I still think he's probably right now.
Agreed.
I still think he's probably the smartest quarterback in all the NFL as far as all the starters. So if they can get him now, Gronkowski, we don't know what's going to happen with him, right? He hasn't announced whether he's leaving or not, right?
Right. I have a feeling he'll come back, but I definitely don't want to see what he's going to look like on WWE or anything.
I don't think Rob Gronkowski will come back. That's my opinion. But anyway, either way, whether he comes back or not, they need to get him some help in the receiver corps because Edelman, while he's great, he's still not the answer. He needs a Randy Moss and Antonio Brown, Odell Beckham type player, I think, to get them to the next.
I was so hoping that we would get Odell Beckham, but
yeah,
the Giants aren't going to give us anything.
But so here's where I'm going with this because the Patriots are not known to draft receivers high in the draft. They almost never do that. So would you think that this year would be one of the years that they finally do use their first pick in the draft to go after a receiver?
I think their first pick in the draft is going to be a tight end.
Who?
That guy from Temple.
Oh, yeah. That's actually a good pick.
I think that's who they'll grab. They like those teams that play like that. I think they'll definitely go with a tight end.
That would be a solid pick, except for if you're looking for anybody to fill Rob Gronkowski's shoes as a rookie, it ain't going to happen.
I have a feeling Gronk will be back for a year. I think he'll give him a one last hoorah. Brady will talk him into it. I mean, they're not going to offer him any astronomical amount of money, but you really can't put a price on a Super Bowl ring. And, what better team to go for the long run than the Patriots? Yeah,
I'm not so sure if I was a Patriots fan that I'd want Gronkowski back next year. He's really, last year he played, better than the average tight end, but he's a shell of himself right now. He's clearly not in the best physical shape. I don't know.
I feel like they took probably 3/4 of the season and let him kind of take it easy, but I feel like he really redeemed himself in the playoffs and in the Super Bowl because he was definitely present when it counted.
Yeah, I mean, he's still one of the best tight ends in football, but every year that goes...
But you're right, he is aging. He has those terrible back problems.
Yeah.
So he's not reliable, but I still think he has a year left in him.
I think he would probably make more money next year on the new version of the Jersey Shore than he would at New England.
Well, you like Paulie D.
All right.
GTL, Pigskin Pete.
All right. Yeah. All right. Thank you, Melissa.
Yeah, but I think, maybe I'm biased, but I think the Patriots are the favorites to go back to the Super Bowl again.
I would have to disagree. I think they're one of the favorites to make the playoffs. I would say out of for the first time, maybe in the past 10 years, I would actually say that New England is not the favorite to win the Super Bowl this year. My opinion.
Well, see, our run defense has never been very solid, and going against Bell now twice a year makes me a little nervous with him being in New York. But it's like almost a shoe-in to go to the playoffs, and we play our best football in January. So here we go.
Well, that's true. That the Patriots play in probably the weakest division of all of the NFL as far as the NFC. Yeah, I mean the Dolphins are a dumpster fire. The Jets, I think the Jets will be better this year, but probably still not on New England's level. And listen, the Bills. Come on, that's the Bills. So yeah, I agree.
Well, if I have to deal with another Miami Miracle this next season, you'll be planning my funeral.
Well, that's depressing, number one. But number two, wouldn't you rather trade a loss at Miami every year with the Super Bowl ring? I would.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
All right, well.
So.
Anyway, death to the Patriots.
As long as Brady and Belichick are there, we've got a fighting chance.
So let me ask you this: since I know you personally, and I know you're a Tom Brady mark and a Tom Brady lover, so when Tom Brady retires, whether that's next year or the year after that, or if he plays till he's 45, so who's your favorite team going to be after he retires?
It will be the Patriots, but
I'm
not allowing myself.
But what if they draft or trade for an ugly quarterback? Are you still going to like the Patriots after that?
It's debatable. It depends on how ugly he is.
What if he looks like Joe Namath?
He makes my skin crawl anyways because of his history. So
what if he looks like Joe Namath now? Joe Namath now.
I will never repeat this again, but Brady kind of looks like a little bit of a doofus to me.
Brady does?
Yes, but he gets the job done, so he's the man.
Did he? Hold on. You're starting to confuse me.
Are you speechless?
You just said that you thought that Brady looked like a doofus?
I mean, yeah, a little bit.
So why do you have Brady posters all over your wall and on your screensavers?
I know what you're about to say. Because he's the greatest quarterback of all time.
I'm trying to keep it clean here, and it's not working. I'm trying to keep it clean. But what I was really going to say is,
you don't have to keep it clean. For my sake, you don't have to keep it clean.
No, not for your sake, but for my sake, I do. So, so why have you spent the last 10 years of your life touching yourself to Tom Brady if he's a doofus?
So we were keeping it clean. No, actually, not him. No. I mean, he's kind of cute. Just like I think Giselle was kind of pretty. I don't see the attraction really.
So you've been touching yourself to the diamonds and the Super Bowl rings instead?
No, there's always been like a cute wide receiver or a kicker. You know, I had the Vinatieri jersey. I quit buying jerseys of other players because as soon as I do, they go to another team.
So who's your new love? Is it Julian Edelman?
I'm stuck here with a Patriot Vinatieri jersey, a Patriot Welker jersey. I mean, I quit.
You quit?
Yeah, I'm just going to stick with Brady. And, you know, for the Super Bowl, I got a Gronkowski jersey, and look what's going on right now.
Gronkowski looks like he belongs on the Jersey Shore. And that's who you think that's who you're attracted to?
He's a bit of a meathead, but isn't it fun to watch him carry like 3 guys on his back as he just continues to run?
No, that's not fun at all. It's actually it's terrible.
Well, I have a question for you, and I noticed this over the weekend.
Okay.
Steve Smith, what is he? Junior, senior, right?
Yes, he's senior.
Okay. He's now a commentator. Have you watched him on any of his shows?
I have, yes.
Do you feel he was good at his job?
Yes. What?
Okay.
Was that a question?
That was a question. Do you feel like he's an efficient commentator?
Yes, I do. I actually like Steve Smith. I do think he's butthurt. I do think he's a little bit callous about the way his time ended in Carolina. So he's calmed down a lot, but I do trust his opinion. I think he speaks what he's feeling. I do like him. Yeah.
I can't myself personally really understand half of what he's saying, but he does come across a little bit jaded against some teams.
Why can't you understand what he's saying? Are you racist?
Absolutely not, Joe.
I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. It was a joke.
Sorry.
All right. Listen, I gotta go. I got another call on the line.
Yeah, we're gonna wrap it up on that one.
All right.
Anyways, Tom Brady is still the greatest of all time. I'll say it again.
All right. Thanks, Melissa.
All right.
All right.
All right.
Bye. All right. I got another call here. I'll go ahead and pick this up. Good afternoon. You're on with Pete.
Hey, what's up, Pete?
Hey, who am I speaking with?
The Gamecocks here.
Hey, what's up, man? How you doing?
Nothing much. Just got done watching the Gamecock basketball game. I don't know if y'all are watching that, but suffered our loss, sadly.
Yeah, I'm not watching it.
I just killed our training hopes.
I'm not watching
Have you been
it.
watching any of the tournaments?
Yes, I did watch the Clemson and NC State game, the first round of the ACC tournament, and they blew an 18-point lead after halftime. And that was the last basketball game I watched. Yeah, so.
Yeah, I was gonna say, you think I should fire Brownell?
Yes, I've been saying that for 5 years. I hate him.
I will say, I mean, as much as I hate y'all and I love it, that y'all lost some tough games this year, like really bad. Like, I mean, that NC State in the regular season was even worse.
Dude, they lost four.
Or the North Carolina.
They lost 4 games by 1 point this year. And as a matter of fact, Last year they made it all the way to the Sweet 16. They only lost by like 2 points to Kansas in the Sweet 16 game. But I might be the only Clemson fan on the planet Earth that was pissed that they made it to the Sweet 16 last year, because all that did was continue to give Brad Brownell his job. I wanted him to get fired, and he made it to the Sweet 16. And I was like, here we go. We're going to have another 2 or 3 years of this guy because he made it to the Sweet 16. One time, he's been there, I think, 11 years now, 10 or 11. Somebody's going to tell me I'm wrong. I don't know. He's been there for a decade, and he's made the tournament one time. Once.
All right, so what I'm going to call about, I was just wondering, I mean, football season, I mean, it's almost summer. Next thing you know, it's going to be media days. The next thing you know, season's going to start. And I know as much as you hate us, but what is your idea? I mean, Clemson obviously did it, but, like, how do you think South Carolina could build a program that could definitely do well? I mean, I will say this. We've had some great recruiting classes. I mean, this year was actually really great, and we won the state of South Carolina in recruiting. I mean, y'all were the better recruiting class, but we took the state of South Carolina. But here's the thing. Dabo, I don't think he's the best recruiter, but he gets great recruits. But here's the thing. He teaches them. And, I mean, that's how we build a dynasty, because he teaches them. And he's not just a teacher, he's like a dad.
Yeah, well, I think what you just said in so many words there was that Dabo, he might not even be the greatest as far as X's and O's goes. He might not be the number one recruiter in the country, because we've seen Kirby Smart and Nick Saban and Urban Meyer and Jimbo Fisher. And listen, there's 7 or 8 other coaches that have been around for, as long as Dabo's been around, that have out-recruited him as far as the numbers go. But what he's done is completely changed the culture. And I don't think this is any news to anybody. I'm not saying anything that's groundbreaking that anybody doesn't know. He's created a culture there, and what he does is attract a certain type of player. Not necessarily the best player as far as, 4 stars and 5 stars. What he's done there is created an atmosphere that people from all over the country, whether it's from Ohio or California or Texas or Louisiana or Florida or wherever, they want to come there to play because of the culture there. And so that's really a different type of formula than what we see, than what we've seen in recent years as far as the way that coaches recruit. So Nick Saban might be the greatest coach of all time as far as we know. I mean, as far as right now, I believe he probably is. And he's done it a different way. He's got a militaristic type of program. You come there, he could walk into somebody's living room and just flash the championship rings, and he holds people accountable. And he's probably not a very easy guy to get along with if you're an assistant coach. But if you're an assistant coach, you want to go there because that's probably going to be a step up to the next level as far as a head coaching job or into the NFL or whatever. If you're a player, you want to come there because you want to get drafted. And listen, that's one way to do it. The other way to do it is what Dabo's doing. The way Dabo's doing it. So, but your question as far as what does South Carolina need to do to get on that level, I would say there is no answer to that as far as the culture is concerned. I would say this, though. The first thing you need to do is get rid of Will Muschamp. That's the bottom line. So.
Yeah. I mean, Muschamp definitely isn't the greatest coach we've ever had ever. I mean, it says after his 3rd year. I mean, I'm willing to give him another year. And he's had there's been a lot of games that we have lost that blankly were because of him. I mean, to be honest, in the Belk Bowl, I mean, I don't know why you don't pull Bentley after being down 14-0 at halftime against Virginia. But, I mean, a bunch of games have been on their hand. I will say this. He has a better record than Spurrier in his first 3 years at South Carolina.
Now, listen, I will say this.
But
because I think that, people see me on YouTube or wherever, and they think This guy just hates South Carolina. Of course, he's going to say terrible things about South Carolina coaches and players. And the reality is, yes, I do hate South Carolina, but I'm also real. And, you know, I actually push back on these people that say that no coach wants to go to South Carolina to coach. You know, who would want to go there when they got to coach? They've got to recruit and coach against Clemson and Georgia and Florida and all these other elite, you know, and Tennessee, some of the more higher level programs, not teams, but programs in the country. And I push back on that and say, listen, Columbia and the University of South Carolina is smack dab in the middle of the hotbed in recruiting in college football. Okay, that's number one. Number two, they have a huge and rabid fan base. The Gamecock fans, as much as I don't like the Gamecocks, listen, the Gamecock fans are some of the most passionate fans, especially for a team that's never done anything. They stand by their team. They show up and fill up the stadium every single Saturday during the college football season. They're in the SEC. They've got all of the parts for the formula to form what could be a viable team, a top 10 program in the country. They've got everything there that they need. The only thing that they're lacking, in my opinion, is the coach. They need that guy. They need that. And it's not, listen, I'm not saying it's easy to find a Dabo Swinney or a Kirby Smart or a Nick Saban. It's extremely difficult to do that. But my point is with Will Muschamp is you don't just stick with the guy because he won you 9 games one time. I don't care if it takes you 10 years to do it. You go on the search for the guy who's that guy who can change the culture. And I just don't see Will Muschamp being that guy.
Yeah, I mean, Muschamp is definitely not the greatest coach, but I mean, I love the dude. He's a great guy, but even Spurrier. Spurrier, arguably one of the best, definitely not the best coach, but one of the best coaches. But Spurrier was kind of a douche a lot of the times, especially at Florida when he tried to run up the score all the time.
Well, here's the thing is that.
But the other thing.
Spurrier and Lou Holtz were both guys who had their legend already, their history already written for them at other programs. You had Spurrier at Florida. He's a Florida guy. You had Lou Holtz at Notre Dame. He's a Notre Dame guy. You need a guy who's going to be a South Carolina guy, right? Like with Dabo Swinney.
Yeah.
He was an Alabama player, but his legend was really written at Clemson. You need a guy who's going to be that guy for South Carolina.
Dabo's only had really one not so great year at Clemson, and yet they still went to a bowl game. That was the 2010 season. Here's the thing: if we have a good season like last year when we won the Outback Bowl, that was like a starter season where we're like, okay, this team's actually pretty good, and we had hope. But we just can't stay consistent. But the other thing I wanted to talk about is after the news about OBJ. As a Panther fan, as much as a dumb team we are, probably the greatest move that we fired Dave Gettleman. Oh yeah,
definitely. I hated Dave Gettleman, and actually, to be honest with you, I gotta eat a little bit of crow because when they fired Gettleman, I was happy, but then they rehired Marty Herney. And I was pissed. I was like, Marty Herney is a recycle. We've already been through this thing before with Marty Herney. Marty Herney made some bad decisions his first go-round with the Panthers. But I've been extremely impressed with what Marty Herney has done in his second tenure there. And he said when he got the job, he said, I learned from my mistakes about, keeping all these players around, these legendary Panthers players and paying them too much. He's shown already in these last season and so far this off season that he's willing to cut the fat off of the meat and go after new blood. And so I like what he does so far, but I agree. Dave Gettleman, he's really not good.
And I thought myself through this with the Panthers, but do you think it's time if we maybe start to rebuild?
You talking about the Panthers rebuilding?
Yes.
No, we're not in rebuild mode. We shouldn't be.
I know we aren't going to, and I mean, we've made some dumb decisions. I mean, I don't know why in the world we would get rid of Davis. I mean, he was literally, besides Keekly, the star of our defense.
No, I agree with that.
No,
I liked getting rid of him. I liked getting rid of. I like all the move they've made. Is with Peppers retiring, getting rid of Davis, getting rid of some of the other veteran players. I actually like that. I don't think that Carolina is. They're not a rebuild team. The rebuild team is when somebody's in dire straits, like what the Giants are doing right now. What the Browns have been doing for the past 10 years or so. Carolina is literally 2 or 3 solid pieces away from being a NFC contender as far as the NFC championships go. So no, I don't think we're in a rebuild at all. Here's the real problem. Is Cam Newton's health. That's the main factor right now. Because when Cam Newton was healthy last year, the first 8 games of the season, they were 6-2. Once he hurt his shoulder, they lost 7 out of their last 8 games. That was the difference. So we're not close to a rebuild. But if Cam Newton's not going to be healthy, that could be a huge problem as far as the future goes. But as far as Cam Newton is healthy, then we are right there in the mix in the South and in the NFC, I think.
I mean, I agree with you. The veterans and stuff, getting rid of them. Definitely, I think we have to keep on the Olsen. I mean, that's his last year. But, I mean, we got a bunch of new stars. McCaffrey, for sure this season, definitely the best player on the team. But
here's
a decade.
Yeah, here's the way I
be in the Super Bowl.
I really like what we did at receiver last year with DJ Moore. I think he's going to be really good. I like the receiving core as it is. We probably could use a deep threat, in my opinion. But what we need to do in the draft is shore up the offensive line and the defensive line. We need an edge rusher, big time. We need to fill in the 1 or 2 holes that are left on the offensive line, and we could really use a really good cover corner. And that's the 3 pieces that we need: an edge rusher, an elite left tackle, and maybe one really good cover corner, and I think that we're right there in the mix. So we'll see what happens in the draft.
I mean, what we need is right now. First round. We got to go with the O-line. I mean, I know these past couple of years we have not been a good draft team, but I hate to say it, I think we have to go with the line, because line is one of the worst in the worst in the NFL.
If they don't draft either an offensive lineman or a defensive end with our first pick, I think we have the 17th pick, 16th or 17th pick. If we don't pick one of those 2 positions in the first round, I'll be disappointed. Now, what they do, what they do rounds 2 through 7, that's open to interpretation. But with the very first pick, I think this draft is so rich in defensive linemen and just defensive players in general. And there's only so many offensive linemen in this draft. It's not a very rich offensive line draft. So if we don't get one of those 2 in that first round, I'll be highly disappointed.
Yeah, I mean, if anything, we either need to go with Quentin Williams or Dexter Lawrence or any Clemson defender.
Well, I would take them. I would take them, but there's also a lot of other really good ones out there from other teams. So I'm not just going to be a complete Clemson homer and say we need to draft one of them. Now, if they drafted Cleveland Farrell, listen, I'll be ecstatic about that. But I would also take, 4 or 5 other guys that are edge rushers. This draft, it might be the best edge rushing draft we've had in the past 4 or 5 years by far. So anyway, listen, hey, I appreciate you calling in. My computer's about to die, so I'm gonna have to get off.
All right,
man.
All right. Thanks for letting me call in. See you. Bye.
Yeah, thank you.
See you guys. Bye.
If anybody else is on the line, I apologize. It's been an hour and 10 minutes, and my computer's about to die. Thank you to all the Patreon members: Billy Dawson, Catfish, Tiger Nation, The Goat Watson, Border Bob, And I hope I'm not forgetting anybody. Also, all of the Super Chat members. Leon Hurricane's coming through with $50. Melissa Stallings coming through with $50. Cole, the Missouri fan. Catfish and Volunteer Roadshow and Tiger Nation. You guys are all amazing. You're all fantastic. Thank you to everybody who stopped in. If you're new here, please hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button. And I talk about college football and NFL football year-round. And I guess that's it. I've been reading all your comments. I couldn't comment, obviously, or answer you because I was on the phone. But you guys are the reason that this is so much fun, and I couldn't do it without you. So thank all of you, and I will see you next time. Thank you. Have a great day. Pigskin Pete, checking out.